What is up, guys? This is Kira from the Trinity of Lift, and today I'm going to bring all of you guys my Zoodiac Lunalight deck profile for this February 2017 format. Now, Raging Tempest is out, and so are the Zoo cards, and I will definitely be making a ton of Zoo profiles, so I thought to start this off, I probably should do a Zoodiac Lunalight deck profile because I haven't played Lunalights in quite a bit, and I really do feel like Zoodiacs provide so much for the Lunalight archetype because it really fixes the Lunalight deck's problem of just consistency. And just, yeah, I really do feel like this deck is very fun to play. And if you guys can scrape up the cash to make this deck IRL, I would definitely recommend it. So without further ado, we can just jump right into the deck profile, starting off with the main deck as per usual. Now, I would like to just say really fast before I actually go through the whole list that when I constructed this Lunalight deck, the whole intention of this deck is to search out your combo pieces from your Lunalights to make double Leo Dancer and attack your opponents. So keep that in mind that this is a very combo heavy build of my Lunalight deck, and so that's why some of the ratios might seem a little off, but just a heads up. So without further ado, we're just going to just go straight into the ratios. We have 3 copies of White Rabbit because obviously she's the best starter card. You need her for every one of your big fusion plays because she just gets you an instant +1 on summon usually, and she also is a mini giant Trunade, so that's pretty cool as well. So we got to play 3 of her. Then we have 3 copies of Black Sheep because we got to search our polymerizations, and Black Sheep also recruiting a guy from our graveyard after she gets used as a fusion material is also really important because, again, it keeps those Lunalights cycling in and out of your grave and your hand so that you can constantly use them for fusion materials, so that's really important. Then we have 3 copies of Tiger because a Monster Reborn as a Pendulum Scale and a Monster Reborn-esque kind of effect as a monster is pretty good. And this also synergizes extremely well with the Phantom Knight of Breaksword. So we also have to play 3 copies of her. And then finally, for the last Lunalight in our deck, we're only playing 1 copy of Lunalight Wolf. Now, the reasoning behind only 1 Wolf is that you can search Wolf with a ton of different cards in this deck now. Now that we have the Zoodiac archetype here, any card that can make you go through your whole Zoodiac combo can search you Wolf because Broad Bull does search Wolf. So because of that, you don't need to play multiple copies of arguably the brickiest Lunalight monster, which is Wolf. So now you can only get away with playing 1 of it, and you only can search the 1 of whenever you do need it and when you're going to try and go for that big double Leo Dancer play with all of your Lunalights, and that's why I only feel like 1 Wolf is necessary. So yeah, we have 1 Wolf to round up all of our Lunalight monsters. Moving on to the other monsters in our deck, of course, we have the 3 copies of Rat because, well, this is the whole, like, part of the Zoodiac engine which makes it good and playable. So, yeah, we have 3 copies of Rat. Moving on, we have the 3 copies of the Terratop and, of course, the 1 copy of Taketo so that we can make MX Saber Invoker with these cards to get our Rat. But also, I should mention that, again, if you guys have watched my previous Lunalight videos, I really do say that the speed rates in this deck are really good, even without the Zoodiacs per se, because the Terratop can also make things like Breaksword, which is really good because Breaksword synergizes with things like your Lunalight Tiger, and you can also make Totem Bird, which can also just help you solidify your boards. So again, just playing the speed rate engine is extremely important, so we got to play these cards as well. And then finally, for the last 2 monsters, we have we have 2 copies of Max C, excuse me, because, well, it's just really good, this format. Like, when your opponent goes off with their Zoodiac combo and you chain Max C, they either have to stop, or they're going to give you, like, what, I think 5 or 6 cards, something about there. So yeah, we have 2 copies of Max C to round off the monster lineup. Alrighty, moving on to the spells, we of course have 3 copies of Zoodiac Barrage because it's just such a great starter card. Like, you want to see this in every one of your opening hands, so of course we gotta play 3 of it because it's just so darn good. Next up, we of course have the 3 copies of Tenki, which I really do hope won't get limited anytime soon, but fingers crossed. But yeah, we have 3 copies of Tenki because it searches out majority of the deck, bar the Max C's, the Terratop Taketo and the Lunalight Wolf. So of course we have 3 copies of Tenki. Then we of course have 3 copies of Poly because we got a fuse, obviously, and we still don't have some kind of a Lunalight fusion. Although I can only dream that one day we're going to get a Lunalight specific fusion spell, but whatever. We still have 3 copies of Poly because it's the fusion spell that you have to use. Then we also have 3 copies of Fusion Recovery because it acts sort of like a combo piece in this deck because it's kind of like a Pot of Greed because it gets you, of course, a free +1. And it also gets you another Poly and another Lunalight. So the reason why that's important is because it's kind of like you don't have to search 3 copies of polymerization, as fusion recovery kind of acts as like 3 more copies of polymerization for you to use in your fusion combos. And again, because of how this deck tries to play and you need to make Leo Dancer in order to win the game, you will at minimum need to try and get 3 polymerization somewhere. So fusion recovery does help you with that. So yeah, we have 3 copies of that. And then finally, for the last couple of spells, we have 1 copy of Raigeki and 1 copy of Darkhold, because going second is really important that you don't just auto-lose going second. So having board clears is really important. And then, of course, we have the 1 copy of Upstart Goblin, because 39 card consistency is always good in combo decks. So yeah, that'll be it for the spells. And then for the trap lineup is extremely simple. We have 3 copies of D-Barrier because it's broken. And then we have 3 copies of Solid Strike because similarly, it's broken. So yeah, that'll be it for the entire 40-card main deck. Alrighty, moving on to the extra deck, and now again, similarly to like what I said with the main deck and how the ratios might seem a little off, if you guys have played Zoodiac or you guys have tested Zoodiac, the Zoodiac Xyz monster ratios are going to be kind of weird, but trust me, they're good. Trust me. First off, we have 3 copies of Zoodiac Broad Bull. Now, the reason why this card is at 3 is because obviously it's like a Gear Gigan X for normal summonable Beast Warriors. And the thing is with Broad Bull, which I feel a lot of people forget when they're trying to deck build with things like this kind of deck, Broad Bull only takes 2 level 4s to make, and it's a generic rank 4 technically. So because of that, you actually will be making Broad Bulls as often as you can, either through your Zoodiac plays or just as a standard rank 4, because you again really need to search all of your Lunalight combo pieces in order to go for your big win condition, which is that double Leo Dancer. So normally when you're going through that Zoodiac combo, when you're making your rats and your Drancias and all that kind of stuff, you're gonna have that extra rank 4 with the 2 other rats. The thing is, we're not making Daigusto Emerald in this deck. We're actually gonna make a second copy of Broad Bull usually, because again, like I said, you need those combo pieces. So that is why we are playing 3, which is 1 more than the normal, because again, you will be making this card a lot, and any situation that you can make this, you have to make it, because you need, again, the combo pieces, if I haven't stressed that enough. Moving on, we have 2 copies of Drancia, because, well, Drancia is like your big defensive card. She's your big, like, offensive pushing card. You gotta play Drancia at 2, in my opinion, because besides just being good overall, you also need the second copy of Drancia, because you'll need to put her over other Broad Bulls sometimes to then subsequently put another Broad Bull over this card. So you have to have 2 copies of Trident because, well, she's just really good. And excuse me if I'm getting the OCG and the TCG names mixed up. I'm still not used to the TCG names, but yeah. Finally, for the last 2 Zoodiac Xyz, of course, we have 1 copy of Tiger Mortar and 1 copy of Borbo. Now, you don't play multiples of either of these cards because you only need them for your initial like starting Zoodiac play. After that, you'll never need them or their effects because you're not playing any of the other Zoodiacs, and you don't play Daigusto Emerald either. So you're not going to need multiple copies of this to try and keep recycling your resources to keep making plays, as again, you're trying to end games as fast as you possibly can. So because of that, you don't need multiple copies of this, and you'd rather play other copies, or excuse me, other cards in your extra deck. So that is why we're only playing 1 copy of each of these. Moving on to the other Xyz, we of course have the 1 copy of MX Saber Invoker because you got to play this. We have 1 copy of Totenberg because, like I said, you can make it with Terra Top and stuff. We have 1 copy of Breaksword because synergy. And then finally for the last Xyz, we have 1 copy of Castel to round it off because Castel is just generally a good card. So yeah, that'll be it for all of the Xyz. And then finally for the fusions. Now this is going to be, I guess, it's going to be kind of cringy. I guess, like, however you look at it. We have 1 copy of Cat Dancer, 1 copy of Panther, and then 2 copies of Leo. Now, of course, this is nowhere near the standard Lunalight ratios, but the whole theory behind this is that, again, because of how this deck is as streamlined as possible to get into your double Leo Dancer play, in theory, you'll never need more copies of Cat or Panther Dancer, because once you go into your double Leo Dancer, you're trying to win the game right there, or you're gonna lose probably. So the reason why this ratio is here is because you only are gonna go into Cat Dancer and Panther Dancer once, because once you use the 2 smaller Lunalight fusion monsters to go into your Leo Dancer, you're going to be banishing your Panther Dancer and stuff with the Lunalight Wolf to make the second Leo Dancer. And again, like I said, when you make these 2 cards on the board at the same time, you should be trying to win the game right there. So because of that, you aren't trying to play multiple copies of the 2 small fusions because you don't need a grind game really. You're just trying to usually end games on turn 2 or turn 3 when you get all of your combo pieces. So because of that, we are running just an extremely minimal fusion lineup because I really feel like you don't need it in this deck. So yeah. So that, yeah, guys, that is it for my Lunalight Zoodiac deck profile. I hope you all very much enjoyed this video, and I will apologize if I'm kind of rusty with giving the deck profiles. I haven't done this in a while again, and just, yeah, I'm still getting used to it again. I'm going to get back into the swing of things because I am going to put out a lot of deck profiles with Zoodiac in it. So again, I hope all of you guys enjoyed this first Zoodiac profile that I'm going to be featuring on the channel, and as always, this is QRem from the Trinity of Lift, and I'll see all of you guys later. Peace out.